Today, we're going to be talking about why homeschooling/unschooling is for us and probably isn't for you.
Welcome to J&Kay, where we help you live boldly and authentically.
Now, I don't want to put any of you guys off to the idea of unschooling, but it is a minority in the homeschooling community. I wouldn't necessarily call us unschoolers, more relaxed homeschoolers, but I tend to think of what we do day to day as unschooling, especially as I was homeschooled my whole life. And I loved my education, but we're going a little bit of a different direction. We're going to talk about that today and what we've learned and what you can learn from our experiences.
So one story is when we taught Emma last year how to read. We're still teaching her how to read. She's in second grade now. But last year, we really started focusing on reading in first grade. And she was having trouble with that reading a little bit. So we had to approach that from a different kind of perspective.
Yeah, I feel like Emma was really a late bloomer where she wasn't really super into letters and learning her letters and learning to read in preschool or kindergarten. And I was starting to get nervous that she was falling behind. But really, she was just a late bloomer, as we'll get to later in the video. When we started really getting into reading, there was this back and forth where we could either push her and force her into reading and keeping up with her age level, or we could really step back and let her discover a love of learning on her own. And we kind of chose both.
The way that we approach our relaxed homeschooling is from a place of seeing our kids as little adults, where their points and their perspectives are very valid. If they're fighting up against something, we just realize there's another way to go about this. We can approach this from a different perspective and try to make it more of a game, or there's so many opportunities now with the internet where we can approach any subject from a different angle, and then suddenly the kids love it and they can't get enough of it.
And this really helped Emma to choose to learn on her own and to say, I do want to read. I want to be a reader. I want to keep up with my peers and things like that. But it really had to come from her first once she ignited that desire to read, and it wasn't always easy even after that. But when she did want to learn to read, she was really receptive to all of the different games and techniques that we could provide for her. And I think that's really what both homeschooling and unschooling are about. If you don't know the difference between the terms, I'll just take a quick break and tell you. So homeschooling is any education done at home. So it could even be distance learning where you're doing online classes. It could be that you're following a certain curriculum. It could be unschooling, which is where you are very unstructured, and hardcore unschooling is really where you just let the children decide what they want to learn and kind of help facilitate them in that learning process. We're a little bit more structured than that. We don't have a set curriculum that we follow. We pick and choose from whatever we want to do, and we definitely try as much as we can to get the kids on board and follow their passions, especially day to day. So we have overall yearly goals, but day to day, what are you guys interested in today?
Right.
Once Emma really chose to learn to read, then we are able to support her. Homeschooling and unschooling both support the child in their learning goals and give them the opportunity to pursue their interests through different educational resources and games and technology, all kinds of things.
And the point is to long-term cultivate a love of learning.
Absolutely.
So we can go about that in so many different ways. One of them is just simply teaching the subject, like with Toby. He's very young, he's only 3.5, but he just loves math in any way, especially number blocks.
Yeah, he's big into number blocks. We have little manipulatives, and there are different characters, and it's a TV show on Netflix, and he's just always playing with the characters, and he's just always talking about math in his head. He's saying, Mommy, 3 + 1 is 4. I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
But for Emma, she really had a struggle with reading where she just didn't want anything to do with it. We needed to do lots of different games, so then we tried all different sorts of books. But really finding something that they love, for example, a book series where they just love the characters or something like that, tends to work really well.
And sometimes we use artificial intelligence. Why don't you talk more about the kind of cool things we do with that?
I made this custom GPT. I made one called Emma's Teacher. She can actually go to the AI that's on her iPad and just go to the custom GPT, and it knows that Emma is her one student who's a second grade curious little girl, and then it will just teach her as a kind, very patient teacher who can just teach about any sort of thing.
Like the other day, she was saying, why does the sky look white today instead of blue? And so then it answered about how the sun reflects off the atmosphere and everything, and clouds, how that plays into all that. But it's just like a specific answer here and there.
Just the other day, we had come up with this idea of a science project that we could do. It taught us how to mix vinegar and baking soda and make a little plastic rocket that explodes up into the sky. But the kids absolutely loved that. Just realize there's so many ways that you can be teaching your kids. Find learning throughout every single day, and it doesn't need to be boring, just paperwork all the time.
So have you guys tried any unconventional methods of teaching your kids? This is why I started saying this might not be for you, but it is for us. And it might be interesting to you. It might be something that you want to do in the future, or you would never do and you just want to live vicariously through us. So that's our story and how we raise our kids. If you're interested in more of these videos, please subscribe and join us for future videos.
All right, thanks.